game. I'm gonna stop sharing. I see Sherry here. I don't know whether Sherry can talk, but Sherry was in our game, and you're the one that inspired me with your voicemail in December. Yeah, and Sherry was beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, literally in bed, manifesting clients coming to her in lockdown. Yeah, can you maybe share a little bit about what you remember from the appreciation game, Sherry?
As you know, I think you're absolutely brilliant. I love listening to you because I think when we were doing lockdown, honestly, you know yourself, right? Everything was just manifesting, and I did one of my highest points in my business. Like I've just actually just hit the score last month as well. But and I think this is what you always say, right? We know where we are by our results. And with you, honestly, that appreciation game, that 3 times a day tapping in, that's exactly what you were talking about, is the accountability. And I've since studied, as you know, I study a lot.
Everything. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
You're a great teacher yourself. You're amazing yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I do mentor and I have got an appreciation game, and you won't believe it, Angelique. So I've come away. This is my appreciation book, right? And this is my Science to Getting Rich, which I brought with me specifically. But
Oh,
doing it with you was like so mind blowing for me because you kept us in that group. And I think you really helped me get on that ladder. You know, that was just so profound to me. I'll always remember it because it was not an easy time.
oh,
My business, as you know, my beauty therapy, my makeup was gone. And
yeah.
yet my network marketing business. And it was the time that really kicked me. And I'm going more into leadership now. So that was the platform for me, COVID, which was amazing for me, and basically, I never had it anyway, and I've never had it. But at the end of the day, that platform that you created with Eleanor was honestly, I would honestly tell anyone to do it because it was just the fact that we had the accountability. We had to do 3 times a day, as you said.
And
And
post.
yeah, and without that accountability, nobody does it because I've got an appreciation group now. And trying to keep them all in the loop is very difficult.
It's like a
It,
network marketing. You have to carry them and please do this, please do this. Pump them up.
do it. They'll do the 30 days. We've all done 30 days, right? And we've all done this. But what happens is, and I think what happened with you was you got me into the program. You were helping me to change the program of appreciation. And I was listening to you that it's become now automatic. And I think that's what you helped me to become. You got me on a platform of it becoming automatic. So I'll always be grateful, and I always think you're amazing,
Oh,
and I highly recommend it.
yeah. So I remember that, in COVID, there was a lot of people like Cherie, who is actually very much dependent on events and working with clients face to face. They lost I think you lost like two parts of you lost two streams of income. And
Yeah.
so, and when she was in the game, she literally then she could only rely on basically the affiliate marketing and beauty products that we were both in that business. And I know that you were you were always a star, but actually not meeting anybody, not not having any demonstrations on the face and all the stuff that we normally do, you literally attracted people coming to you. And there was another person in, I think, was it your team, Victoria, who had amazing results. Yeah. And it was really, she just started visualizing what was going on in her business, and her husband even played along. The husband, that she didn't get along with, literally started becoming a different person. They fell in love again almost. And he started playing he started playing with the future's already happening type of games, and that's how she started manifesting her business goals. And so actually, this game has been inspired again by one of the former players. She sent me a text voice message in the car uh, around December. she was saying, do you know that game that we played? And I remember that I was just basically literally attracting lots of opportunities to me. And while during lockdown, she couldn't go anywhere, and literally things were coming to her because we were playing the appreciation game. And she said that it was just so much fun. And during the time, I was thinking, yeah, you know what? That game was super fun. And actually, it's actually very hard to do it by yourself because, the community isn't there. There is no feedback, there is no entanglement with other people. So this is why I started thinking, let me see what is in the field for me to work with. And then I actually started creating slides again about the appreciation game. So this is why I became more and more excited again about launching it, because actually the appreciation game works with a few premises, yeah, and they're very, very simple. So the appreciation game came from the premise that basically, Abraham says that you only need one tool for the whole of your life. If you had no other tools, you could just do with one tool, and that was appreciation. And if you know my story about Abraham Hicks, I didn't know I was doing Abraham Hicks. I was training as a healer then. I was working with several healers. They were all Barbara Brennan graduates. My first teacher taught me placement process and gratitude. And that was completely new to me because, hey, I was just like a normal person. I wasn't really into healing and I didn't even know the word manifestation. But she just said, with the placement process, you write down what you want and you outsource to the universe. And within 6 months of writing things down and also surrendering into the universe, although I didn't really know what that was, I manifested everything: the soulmate partner, the beautiful job in London. I was then in Amsterdam, plus the beautiful apartment with Riverview in London. So I literally manifested that within 6 months. And I was thinking, what did I do? What is it that I did? And so when I went to London, I went to all these different workshops, and there was a Abraham Hicks workshop in Covent Garden. And when I went there, I found out that they were doing Abraham Hicks placement process. And I was like, wow, who is Abraham? And so I started obsessively studying. That was then on an iPod, 2000, this was 2006. I was on an iPod listening to all the books of Abraham Hicks, like I think 10 times, 10 times per book. And I kept listening, kept listening. I had a commute of an hour in London in the tube. And those of you who know London in the commute, I mean, it's not nice. So I was staying in the vortex with Abraham. But after that, I just knew so much about Abraham because it was actually quite difficult for me to understand Abraham with all the jargon that they were using. And so when I understood it, I started integrating Abraham in the workshops that I was doing. I was using constellations, I was using Abraham Hicks, I was using Tony Robbins strategic intervention coaching. So it was a little bit of a mix, and the Jungian analytical training that I was doing then. So you can imagine that Abraham was really important for me because although I was really studying a lot of energy healing, I was studying all these other modalities, which were more about, the collective unconscious, working with the quantum field. To me, Abraham Hicks was such a departure from all the other teachings because I was no longer identifying myself with somebody who needed therapy or who was just still doing an individuation process and shadow work. Abraham Hicks was completely the opposite, yeah. So it was like, hey, you're an infinite creator, and your focus it basically can shift, your vibrational set point, and all these more vibrational teachings were fundamental to my understanding of actually like a journey within, returning my focus back to my wholeness instead of identifying myself as I'm not there yet. Yeah. So because I actually manifested the big things with Abraham Hicks with just that simple placement process, I started doing other processes, but I never did appreciation. I listened to all these videos where you hear, all these beautiful tracks and Abraham doing rampage of appreciation on I don't know what, a lot of different subjects. I listened to them, but I wasn't really, to be honest, I was always a very mental person. I wasn't really feeling it. I was never really feeling things. I'm very, very analytical in my head. And of course, that was some kind of protection strategy that I had. And but when I actually went to Dr. Joe in 2019 for the I don't know how many a time, I had a download during a walking meditation, and it felt like an instruction. It said, "You will be creating a game." And I was like, whatever, I don't know. I just started creating lots and lots of slides, but I wasn't going anywhere. I mean, it was all coming from my head. And then the next download was, you're going to work with this specific person that you met. And I was like, I don't even know her. And basically, I contacted her and I said, I don't know why, but our download said that I should work with you. And she said, that sounds like fun. We had no clue what we were doing. So we just started organizing events in Amsterdam. We just thought, let's create an amazing community in Amsterdam. And in that year, Abraham Hicks would come to Amsterdam. Dr. Joe was coming to Amsterdam. Greg Braden was coming to Amsterdam. So we organized all these events, mastermind events after these events. And then we were doing walking meditations, in Amsterdam. We were actually the first ones who started it. And then after that, another download came, which was, let's start testing out this bold claim that just with appreciation, you will change your life. So Abraham says, it is our promise to you, if you write things you appreciate in others, in life, and in yourself, you will have such a dramatic change in 30 days. And if continued for 6 months, the change will be so powerful, so strong, others who know you will not recognize the old you. We're like, yeah, really? And then the other bold claim, if all you did was just look for things to appreciate, you would live a joyous, spectacular life. If there was nothing else that you would ever come to understand other than just look for things to appreciate, it's the only tool you would need to predominantly hook you up with who you really are. That's all you need. So Ellen and I was like, really, is it that simple? But in that time, we were waking up at 5 a.m., yeah, 7 days a week. We were like meditating. We were, changing the box. We were tuning into new potentials. We were overcoming our programs. So to think that appreciation would shift our life so much, we weren't really sure. We were a bit skeptical. But then Ellen and I were like really playful. We're like, okay, let's do a 7-day challenge. I don't know. We had a Facebook group and I think 50 people showed up or something, but I think only like 25 or 30 really played full out. And we just gave them the instruction. We want you to appreciate 3 times a day. We don't care what you're going to appreciate, but appreciate. And basically, we started seeing people, this appreciation virus that started spreading in through the group, and people starting shifting within 7 days. And we're like, wow. We had like this, mastermind after 7 days, and everybody was like, we felt so connected with each other, but also we saw the power of appreciation, mainly because it wasn't an intellectual consumption of Abraham Hicks videos and teachings and just listening to them and not applying them. We were literally challenging ourselves to appreciate things, even if we didn't feel like it. And so this group basically inspired us to actually do a month-long appreciation game and to do a series of appreciation games. So we had like a business vortex appreciation game. We had romance and love. We had I am all possibilities. We had best case scenario. We had like very, and we were combining not just Abraham Hicks teachings. We had, of course, we had Dr. Joe, we had Greg Braden, we had the Science of Getting Rich. We were dissecting all the teachings, and so really we had an amazing amount of testimonials. which I will share a few from, but we have more than enough experience and demonstration that appreciation is the only tool. And so tonight, I just would like to ask you why we would create the appreciation game the way that we did it, which is it is an accountability game and it's happening in a group. And so these two elements are very, very important because I want to ask you maybe to write down in the chat what is the biggest challenge when you have good intentions to change. Yeah. So what do you think it is? Oh wow, Crystal, going to a cruise. Yeah, I'm gonna be with Abraham in Amsterdam. So, but the cruise sounds amazing, but I'm a little bit scared that I'll be seasick. That's why I'm not doing it. But yeah, that sounds amazing. So if any of you know why we set up the appreciation game, we did it. So Thomas said implementation instead is the challenge of instead of just thinking about it. Yes. So basically, and why do we think accountability is important? Because I don't know about you guys, but life is busy. And what we're doing with Appreciation Game, just like Dr. Joe said, nobody can make time. Nobody can wake up at 5. Of course, our group, the Flamingos that I'm part of, we actually demonstrated that if you really want the, connection with the divine, you want that meeting with the divine, you wake up at 5 a.m. Yeah. You want that more than your sleep. So, but I think when we're talking about real big habitual changes, we simply have too much resistance when there's no accountability. Yeah. And if you think about yourself, why do you have many intentions? You go to retreats, maybe you study everything, you watch everything, but actually, and maybe you have, you're working with a therapist, you're working with a coach or, a healer. Why are things still not changing? Entropy. Claudine, I know this is a very, very Dr. Joe word. Can you explain what entropy is? So faith, yeah. So faith is, of course, you don't know, faith is, it before it has happened, right? And of course, a lot of people don't have faith. Sophia, this is a good question. My recent challenge with consulting work manifests the lucrative contracts as I seem to be thrown into extreme and toxic environments. So there's a misalignment. Be careful what I wish for. Claudine says everything goes back to chaos. So thank you. So when we change, of course, there is this weird thing that when you really want change, the universe is going to take away things that are not in alignment with what your higher self or future self wants. But when it happens, we sometimes are very much in shock and we think, well, why did I do that? Ushi saying totally believe in it and feel that it is possible. Yeah, absolutely, Ushi. It is that, do we really believe that we, whatever changes we're making will lead us to the same result? And do we really have faith before this happens so that we can boldly embody that new person that can live that new experience? So, and what is beautiful about the appreciation game is I think that we have constructed it in a way that for us felt like you are actually at a retreat, but you're doing it from your home and you're still having the community, accountability, and daily highlights and sharing and inspiration because we're doing it in a private forum. And if you miss out 3 times, we throw you out. That's literally what we said. And actually, people loved it. People said the accountability was the most important thing because without it, I would have made excuses. A lot of people said that. So yeah, the challenge is thank you for sharing that, So yeah, why appreciation game? It's not just as Thomas said, it's not just knowing it. Knowing it is easy. All of us know it. We can all do PowerPoints, mastermind. We can do I don't know, webinars, yeah? But are we doing it and are we being it? And to change, we know this, we need daily repetition. We need to strengthen the new neural networks that are very uncommon and foreign and away from our identity. And we need daily conditioning and pattern interruption. Yeah. And this is what you get accountability for in a group setting. And when you see others being challenged and they still do it anyways, and we're not talking about waking up at 5 a.m. and having beautiful, beautiful meditations and cosmic divine downloads, and then you go to your boss and you go to your ex-husband or your toddler. It's really not that. This is, the doing part is really being challenged when with your eyes open, when you're not doing the meditations, when you're not at the retreat, and actually still really applying what you know is the right thing to do to achieve change. So, the appreciation game was accountability was the main thing. Yeah, so the monetary investment was important because when people pay, they are invested. We actually have Ellen and I also did like we experimented with like, like we had like this payment system, and we said, oh, first 7 days is free, and then you can do then you can commit to your credit card, and dependent on how many months you wanted to commit. But actually, we saw that a lot of people who signed up for 7 days for free, they weren't showing up. They were just like you and I, basically we wanted to be in the loop, but we weren't doing the work. We're not invested. And we felt that really actually had a drain on the consciousness of the group, that so many people were signing up and they weren't there. It was like only 20%. And we said, no, we would rather have a high investment, high accountability, high commitment type of group. And so the people that are in this group, they are really in for it. They are not going to sign up just because they want to receive our emails. They are signing up because they want the change. They're ready, and they're ready to challenge their programs. Yeah. So you're in the community every day. You see each other posting about what you're doing and what is the result, what is the changed demonstration of your change vibration. What is changing in your experience because you become a different person? So there was huge amounts of inspiration, and people like they were, instead of watching the all the news and listening to all the drama around celebrities or politics, people were like looking forward to seeing other people, how they were, doing the work, and how they were changing the field within themselves, and then the matter outside of their world changing. And there was this huge element of entanglement as well. And all of you know how entangled we are, whether you think it or not. There was a huge amount of entanglement. So it was very, very simple. You in the appreciation game, in a group with accountability, you appreciate 3 times a day, which creates alignment with who you really are, and which gets you in the receptive mode. And in the receptive mode, things just show up. You don't even have to struggle for it. You don't have to do 10 meditations. What you want just shows up, and in a way that you don't have to figure out the how. But what you need to tone down, that's what you're committing to, is you are toning down the toxic ways of thinking, which is when you're in survival, you're in pendulums, which is collective consciousness that is low vibration, that is in, fear, lack, scarcity, and also a lot of fear around actually being in the unknown, or people just knowing it, which is analysis paralysis, but they're not doing it, they're not being it, they're not embodying it. So in the absence of appreciation, so this is a slide from one of the business vortex games that we played. You are creating from a state of survival. Yeah, you're believing in human laws and conditioning, whereas we live in a vibrational universe. So all these human laws, like work hard, struggle, no pain without gain, all these human laws, they are the opposite of what the vibrational teachers are teaching us. Yeah. a lot of strategies. You know, you can join a lot of masterminds and implement, I don't know how many funnels or how many sales calls, or you know, read another business book or something. But you know, if you are still living in a state of survival, you know, we are absolutely still far away from the being in the vortex. And this has everything to do with appreciation. Why is appreciation so different from the states of survival? Because if you really listen to the teachings of Abraham, they say appreciation is the purest vibration that they know on planet Earth, and is actually, when you are in a state of appreciation, you are the closest to who you really are. Yeah. And we are not a saboteur. We are not a victim. We don't have self-worth issues when we are really aligned with our inner being. So, and actually, Abraham went as far as to say, when you are not appreciating, you are not thinking. Yeah. So this whole thinking business is very important because it drives a lot of our ways of being and our states of being and our split intentions. So why is thinking so important? Because thinking drives our beliefs and it drives our states of being. And so I work with these 7 toxic ways of thinking, which comes from an amazing book that all people that work with me and love. I asked them to really like dissect that book. The students that I worked with for years, they love that book. They really believe that is like the best book for law of attraction and love and relationships. That book, this is a very important chapter. It opened my eyes, and everybody who looks at these 7 toxic ways of thinking and being, they think, whoa, I didn't know that I had this. Yeah. So what is the appreciation game? Not, you know, we actually help you to understand that when you're not appreciating, you're in those 7 toxic ways of thinking and being. And so what we then design is, what we didn't design is an anonymous group course. You cannot be anonymous in the in appreciation game. You're actually going to be very much be engaged as who you are. Um, it is not an intellectual sharing of mental concepts. It is not positive thinking exercises. And it's also not mental consumption without emotional engagement, which is what we in our education system, a lot of the way that we've been trained to believe that we know things, it's enough. Yeah. You cram a lot of information in your head, and then you just do is some kind of, you know, you write a thesis, or you actually do some kind of you know, test online or something, and then you fail, or you have to redo the exam. This is not what the appreciation game is about. Appreciation game is about from thinking to doing to new ways of being, and it is happening with daily repetition of knowledge and new actions. Yeah, there's a lot of courage and a lot of creativity that is involved. A lot of the unknown is actually brought into your body, brought into the ways that you have to see yourself. You're pruning old neural networks of fear and a lot of excuses. And all of us have excuses. You know, I still have tons of excuses. So, but when you're in this little group where you are working together, it is more fun to not have excuses. You know, you're just like, oh, I don't feel like having excuses anymore. It just isn't fun anymore. And it's a daily stepping in the unknown and then seeing how things shift because you're a new being. So, of course, appreciation, if thinking is being in a program, then appreciation means the opposite of that. It means you're living in a state of creation. You're living from the end result. You're not working with human laws, you're working with universal laws. You are not looking at the world through the lens of scarcity. You're in abundance. You're raising your level of consciousness and vibration according to David Hawkins scale, and you're coming closer to you know, a state of being that allows things that you really want. Plus, of course, we all know this, when you're in appreciation and your higher consciousness is really activated, you're open to guidance, downloads, intuition, because you're in heart and brain coherence, and you're seeing and living through the eyes of source. Yeah. So and because it's a vibrational universe, we receive what we vibrate out in the quantum field. So, so the appreciation game, for those of you who weren't there, it is very interactive, highly engaged group course. It's practical application of the universal law. So it's not just the appreciation things. We try to switch it up sometimes with other different teachings. You know, there's so many different teachings about the universal laws. So we have a lot of, you know, I also study with Bob Proctor. So I know a lot of the big new age teachers, the new thought teachers that we can bring in, which is very, very, so a lot of people are seeing the synthesis of actually how all the teachings are referring to the same, but because you're listening to a new author or you're just having to study one specific sentence or one paragraph in a book for a week, it literally rewires your brain. And also it aligns you with a higher mind, yeah? Not the lower mind, but the higher mind. But of course, it's not just about knowing the universal laws, it's about how do we apply it practically? How do I apply it in my business? How do I apply it in my manifestation of the big goals? And also it is about daily practice, life-changing vibrational habits. Break the habit of being yourself. We know it. These are actually vibrational habits. It's not just the thinking. You have to change your vibration. So, you know, it would be good to know maybe for yourself, how often are you in the state of appreciation versus being in a program or a state of survival? Maybe look at yourself and think, actually, I am very good, 60%. Maybe some of you say, oh, actually, my environment is telling me it's 30%. I am not very much in appreciation. Or maybe some of you are saying, actually, 10%. I am actually very often in a state of survival. Know that according to the teachers, you know, the state of survival is just us forgetting who we are and us not living the embodiment of truth. Yeah, the truth of who we are. So actually, we're just unlearning a lot of the things that block us from remembering who we are. So if, you know, what I think I notice is that if you come to live, let's say 51 to 60% of state of appreciation, your life is pretty good. Yeah. Because if you really understand what it is and you start to catch yourself and you're over the 50%, so you've all exerted enough of mental effort and willpower or intuition or alignment into actually not staying in a state of survival, but literally immediately switching to being in a state of appreciation, a lot of things will shift in your life. But if you're not there yet, it would be really good to be very honest about, you know, actually, yeah, in these and these areas, I'm really in a state of appreciation. But in other areas, I'm like, I'm looking away. I don't even want to look at it. That's how much resistance I have. Resistance, not looking at something, pretending it doesn't exist, also means that you're in a program, because as an infinite being, you would never look away. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing that you're in certain, like all of us have certain areas where we are not in appreciation. Yeah. So that is really it. Some of us have areas where there's a lot of, let's say, resistance, states of resistance, and where it's difficult to be grateful. It's difficult to actually forgive. It's difficult to even take responsibility that there's something that we were accountable for. Yeah. So that's very, very normal. We're human. We live in a world of duality. But I can tell you, the strength that you have to be in resistance for so long, that strength, as they say in Faster EFT, you are very good at that specific skill. So use that skill to change it around, and you will see a lot of things changing. So what we work with in the appreciation game is a David Hawkins skill. This was a book that came to me in a download in 2007, I believe, in 2017, that I had to study it. And I studied it in a mastermind, 5 a.m. UK time, 6 a.m. CET time. And we literally were reading David Hawkins' Power versus Force. And it was, oh my God, it was an eye opener to us. Because before I felt it was just too scientific. It was a bit difficult for me. But actually, I understood that everything is about raising our consciousness. And with the work that I've been doing in groups, first I thought being encouraged is enough. Because encourage, you take responsibility. But as I was doing a lot of quantum constellations, which is the whole group starts to channel the information of the field around a certain topic, I realized that the people that are going to be powerful, that are going to command matter, they are the people living in 350 and above: acceptance, forgiveness, transcendence. So basically, as long as we cannot forgive or accept some of the things that are in our life, we are not able to actually have a really magnetic life force that will attract to us what we are. In last year, I was working with a group, and we were all working on let's go to acceptance. And this group really cracked, the code and they really understood with their body and their states of being that not being in acceptance is being in resistance, and resistance creates what you persist. So these are teachings that are going to be embedded in the appreciation game, so that you always know what are the hacks that you need to apply in your life, so that you can actually really get out of creating what you don't want. Yeah. So let's look at this specific question. Think of an area of your life where you're not shifting despite doing everything you know or everything you're already doing. So we have areas in our life where we're actually avoiding looking at it, yeah, because we're like, oh, I can be happy without it. Are you really happy without it? Or is it because you're not wanting to look at it because you are reminded of a lot of, programs that you think are reality? Yeah. And maybe you know a lot about this area, but you're not doing it because there is this inner block of resistance. Yeah. So the next question is, what is your vibrational set point in this specific area? A lot of us, if we are not really believing in our goal, or we're not even feeling it, it means that we might know it, mental energy, but our body is still the subconscious mind telling us what we really feel. Yeah. So let's say you are in desire. Desire here is you want it, but you don't believe you can get it. Yeah. Desire in the David Hawkins scale means that you don't really have faith in your goal, or that what you want wants you. You actually believe, oh, I want X, but X will never happen for me. So it's very important for us to know the vibrational set point. Do your vibrational audit and know what is the predominant emotion or feelings that you have when you are and thinking or reviewing this area in your life. And then you will know that the work has to be done so that you can go to acceptance. Yeah. Acceptance. And why is acceptance so important? I will explain all of that in the game. It's basically you will get to know all these different levels of consciousness. It will help you understand why they are not serving you. They're really not serving us, and they are so detrimental to knowing who we really are. So a lot of us think unconsciously or automatically when we are not appreciating. Yeah. And so, for instance, think of an area where you feel you're in a low vibration, meaning you're in desire, or you're in apathy, or you're in shame, or you're actually in really like scarcity. You're feeling the lack of it. You don't even believe you can have it. So in that area, we might be running loops where we either devaluing ourselves. When we devalue ourselves, we're feeling like a victim. Then we base that on time warping, meaning the past experiences or what we've been programmed to see around us. And then of course time warping, time distortion is you're generalizing, you're not seeing quantum potentials, you're not believing in infinite potential. And that of course means that you are stuck in comparing yourself with all these people that have done it, and you think, oh, I won't even try. Yeah. So this is just one example, but know that a lot of the thinking that we do in those areas where we feel victimhood or where we feel stuck, it's just a loop that we're running. It's not even thinking. It's not real thinking. It's not creative thought. It is actually, it's just basic program. It's the trance states of the monkey mind that we're running. Yeah. So so I want to show us this, where is this? There was a video. Yes, this is the video I want us to see. Why is working on our beliefs or our thoughts or our ways of thinking so important? Let's watch this video of one of my favorite teachers. He has a beautiful book about overflow, living in overflow, one of my favorite words, but let's watch this.
We experience our beliefs, whether they be true or not. We would take a book of matches. We would go up to one of the fellow students and we'd light the match, blow it out, and then quickly touch the person with a cold match. They're thinking we're touching them with a hot match, and suddenly they form a heat blister on their hand. And they get upset a little bit. We said, no, we touched you with a cold match. Follow me. Then we go to the next person, light a match, blow it out, touch them with a cold match. They get a blister more often than not. So they were having an experience of their belief. They weren't having an experience of that reality. They were experiencing their belief. So humanity is experiencing a belief in separation, not enoughness, lack, limitation. They're experiencing that. They're experiencing a reality that's not real. That's why we call it the world of appearances, because things that appear to be real are simply thought forms that we're experiencing.
Appearances is a very important word. Appearances is a key concept in the Science of Getting Rich, chapter 4. And it's one of the main books that I use to actually inform myself about how reality works, because it's so mind-blowing, everything that's in there, including chapter 4 is literally talking about the quantum field and about how we command matter and how our thoughts actually affect matter. Yeah. So the other thing that we are really good at as humanity, I will tell you, and I'm very good at that. I've mastered this as nobody else, because I used to have panic attacks. And as Dr. Joe would say, I basically programmed myself to have panic attacks just by thought alone. But I didn't know then that I was just in catastrophic thinking, that I mastered catastrophic thinking. And then, of course, I create a lot of urgency, another one of the 7 toxic ways of thinking. Then I feel like a victim. Then I go, because it's all, I have so much evidence of it not going well in the past. So I run. I have the fight, flight, freeze. For me, it was always flight. And then, of course, this was a huge generalization because I wasn't looking at my power. I forgot who I was, but the loop was the evidence of itself. And, and this is why I think this is so important that we understand that we have to investigate the ways that we're thinking and the ways that we're showing up in life. It's very, very important. And Abraham Hicks talks about directing thought. Yeah. So it's not like investigate your thought, analyze your thoughts, go in therapy about your thoughts. No, they say direct your thoughts, direct the thoughts in the so that it is actually coming from your inner being, which is you see through the eyes of source and you start appreciating. You even appreciate contrast. You even appreciate things that you didn't want to manifest, because an infinite being, an inner being, your inner being always knows that what you want wants you, and always knows that the universe has your back. It is there supporting you to go into, creating and having and allowing in all the goodness that you want from life. So Abraham says, few realize that they can control the way they feel and positively affect the things that come into their life, meaning manifestations, things that you actually want into their life experience by deliberately directing thoughts. And so this is it. When we're running programs, we're not deliberate and we're not directing thoughts. Program means you're in a trance. Yeah. And the trance states of the monkey mind are very, very important teachings. And this is what we're trying to teach people, just, to really get out of them. Again, the appreciation game can go really deep. We are challenging people or inviting people to think about the true beliefs about themselves, their reality or appearances, as we call it. What is an appearance? Well, an appearance is what your consciousness projected onto the unified field. And that's what you start to get back, And today there was Vishen Lakhiani had this, Mind from White Valley, he had this whole manifesting, summit. And he was talking again about, actually, we shouldn't talk about law of attraction. We should talk about law of resonance, because it's actually just everything that we project that comes back to us, this mirror effect. So to really understand that we have to wake up, and that appearances are is what so-called subjective reality is. What are you believing about your creative power or so-called other people? Yeah. Or what it is that you truly want. Maybe you think, oh, I want it, but it's not possible. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for all these beautiful messages. So again, we always work with the David Hawkins scale, and over time, and I've heard from some of the people that are manifesting things now because they were working with me last year, how basically this chart, by seeing it every day, they started noticing, I don't want to go there again. It's not it's not loving to me to go back here, yeah, in pride or in grief or in fear, or to even be stuck in anything than acceptance of the quantum potentials that want me, because the universe is trying to channel, a new exciting thing through my desire, my higher desire, not desire in the terms of David Hawkins scale where you don't believe you can have it. So people were telling me that because they started understanding the connection between their vibrational set point and how they were impacting the field, they were getting themselves out of self-love to actually really do the work. Yeah. So another important thing, and most people who work with me, all about split intentions. And split intentions is because we always think we say that we want this big manifestation, but the reason why it's not showing up is because we have contradictory intentions. Yeah. So it could be in many areas. It could be about your big goal. Do I really want, to be married to my soulmate, or do I actually feel, oh my God, I'm going to end up like my mom? Or do you really believe, you have a lot of evidence of your beliefs that are basically contradicting what you want? It could be, running a successful company. Oh, then I'll be overwhelmed by hard work and by people sending me emails, like I saw my dad and my grandfather. Or you could have a lot of contradictory intentions about the strategies you're currently using in your business or for your life. So there's so many dimensions where you can apply the appreciation game. But it's important that it is not about the intent, the daily choices that you can make. More important is to look at your inner alignment with the levels of consciousness that you identify with. So this is, again, every time we bring you back 3 times a day, or you can do it 20 times a day or every hour, you have to check in. Hey, I'm feeling this anxiety, or I'm feeling shame, or I'm feeling apathy, or I'm feeling lack of trust, So neutrality, I don't trust, yeah? So 250, I don't trust it. I don't trust myself. I don't trust that the universe really has all potentials. I am going back into scarcity. I'm going back into the program. When you're there, you know that you have to appreciate, because you're running a program, yeah? And most of the time, because we don't understand that these 7 toxic ways of thinking and being are actually not real thinking. They're actually not even, they don't have anything to do with how our source would see the world and how our source would guide us. We actually stay stuck in them because we think they are reality. And so this is why I think the appreciation game, the way that, you know, I am now designing it, is really, really going to help you to really have a guideline of day by day strategic intervening in your own programs and patterns. So this is from another seminar that I ran a few months ago about somebody who was in my course and who manifested a job within 8 weeks. Yeah, and this person was really in panic attacks. They didn't believe they wanted the job. They had lots and lots of split intentions. So it's really important to understand that, you know, we always have a beautiful intention. I want this beautiful job, but actually they had a lot of inner resistance. Most of us, we have a small intention. The energy that is about our intention is really tiny, let's say 10%. And 80% of our energy is caught up in resistance. Like you want it, but your body doesn't want it because it wasn't safe. It wasn't safe for you to be that successful. You were betrayed in your job. You were betrayed, or your mom was betrayed in a relationship. So all of these things create a lot of resistance in your body. Another thing that is happening in our body, we keep identifying with the person that we are, with our ego, with the human dimension. We forget that we're an interdimensional being. Yeah. And also split intentions is really like, you know, I'm not sure. Do I really want to be successful? Do I really want to be that, you know, run my own company? Do I really want to have that relationship? Blah, 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 blah. So your vibration is wobbly, as Abraham Hicks says. Yeah, and so if you would look at a pie chart, yeah, for the geeks of you, your pie chart is like your identity is really, really tiny. Yeah, your intentions or your intention, the energy of your intention is just not strong enough to help you to manifest. Even understanding that what you want is completely possible, and it can happen even without you knowing how. And so in the trance states of the 7 toxic ways of thinking and being, which are the survival states, we don't have trust, we don't accept the, you know, basically that we could fail, but we also don't accept that we could succeed, and we don't accept infinite potential. So although we might be studying, you know, Dr. Joe, Bashar, Abraham, you know, we go to all these retreats and we are a therapist ourselves, or we are a healer, or whatever it is. Most of you are really, really accomplished. But when we have still these areas where we do not accept that quantum potential of what we want already exists, that is where we literally start to create resistance, because we don't believe it. As most of you said, I don't believe that what I want is possible. And I've been living, I always knew that I wanted to live this Rumi quote, which was, what I want is wanting me. Yeah, I believed it before I could feel it. I knew, a part of me knew that what I want wants me, is looking for me, is attracting me too. It's actually one of the Abraham Hicks videos. Who you want is attracting you. So everything you're doing is literally what they want you to do, so that when you meet each other, you are a match, whether this is in a business or in a relationship. So the other part of the coin, though, is it's hard for us to accept what we want is real or possible or already happening, but we have a lot of difficulty accepting our biggest fears. If there is a universe of quantum infinite potential, we have to allow the possibility of us failing, of us never getting our goal. And when we really can accept both sides of the coin, that what we want is already happening, has already happened, yeah, or that what we don't want, the failure, the pain, the struggles, also a quantum possibility, but at a lower scale of consciousness of our being, then we become neutral. That is the work that we have to do. to climb up to 350 acceptance. Yeah. And I have guided many people through a lot of blocks of energy to know that it is absolutely possible. And in a group, it is wonderful work that you can do. So with split energy in the trance states, we are not in connection with our personal power, which is the creative energy, the creative downloads, intuition, insights, self-love, self-honoring that we have. We don't feel worthy. We don't believe in possibility, and we don't love ourselves. We actually live in a world of fear. So the split energies that we have, all the areas that we're working, that we don't even see when we are in the appreciation game, they really come into your life to be let go of, to be transmuted. Yeah. So Abraham Hicks, that talks a lot about split energy. They say when you no longer split your flow of energy with contradictory thoughts, you will know your power. And when you do the appreciation game, because we're very playful, yeah, you will start to play with the thoughts that are in alignment with who you are, that are in alignment with what you want. And the beautiful thing is what we saw is that there were a lot of fun manifestations. So this is a slide, I made a screenshot. This is a slide from the business vortex. And basically some people, so everybody's doing different things, but some people started attracting ideal new clients from nowhere after visualizing it. So they were visualizing it. So when you do the appreciation game, you can do the appreciation whatever way you want, but we want you to write in the group forum every day. We don't care what you do, but you have to report in that group every day. And this person had ideal new clients after visualizing it. Another person attracted a record amount of old clients and new clients, even in lockdown, into their life. Other people who were in business, they started trusting their downloads. So they were no longer running programs and they were in the receptive mode for non-local intuition. So they acted upon it. And some people were creating new opportunities, following their highest excitement and guidance. And one of the players was a friend of mine. He was actually, I worked with him for a long, long time. He was one of my Tony Robbins peers coaches. He was actually basically really in a bit of a downward spiral with his business. And actually, when he started being in an appreciation game, he said he had the first record month of 10K. So, and I actually have a screenshot of him, posting that, and I made a screenshot. So, I mean, it's really interesting how when we are changing these huge blocks of resistance into alignment, into play, things can shift a lot. So right now, I want to talk about the testimonials and think about it. The testimonials are often about relationships. We saved a lot of marriages. And I was trained by Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonis to be a divorce prevention coach, but I didn't do any of that in the appreciation game. I could have done all the interventions, which is what I did before I was teaching the appreciation game and doing constellations work. But in the appreciation game, people hooked up to their inner being. People hooked up to the love that they are. They started having compassion with the husband that they hated, that they wanted the husband out of their life. Yeah, and that these were not the only relationships that were saved. We're also talking about parents and children and also bosses, mother-in-laws, dare I say it, and definitely in business. And there were effortless manifestations. Things were like people were being playful and they believed in their goal and it started happening. And there were, dare I say it, there were quantum leaps. So if you see some of the older videos of us, every month we had like a testimonial round. And this is one of the players that we had. I met her through another law of attraction teacher, and she was in Amsterdam. We met up, and then I found out that she was really in a difficult position. And I said to her, why don't you play the game with us? So I'll read it out loud. The opportunity to play the appreciation game showed up in a very challenging time of my life. I just moved back from a country I loved living in because the relationship between me and my husband was very delicate. He wanted to step out of the marriage for apparently no reason. It was difficult for us to stay separated there with no help, so we returned home. I've been studying the law of attraction for 1 year. I knew the teachings, did some of the processes, but it was still hard to actually change something. I knew I needed some extra help to figure it out. And then the opportunity to play showed up. I did not know what to expect, but I surrendered. I started to appreciate, and this changed a lot in me. I started seeing that I am really blessed, that I really have a lot to appreciate, and I found more and more to appreciate about my life. That is really what happens when you start to appreciate. More and more just starts coming into your awareness of, wow, there's so much to appreciate. This brought me a lot of peace, and also reading the players' posts every day gave me such beautiful energy. I felt as though I am in a family, supported and loved. This helped me a lot to stay on track, a lot. I started to notice I was becoming more calm, more often in alignment, and this improved the relationship with my husband. It actually turned it around because we are together again, and this was within a month, and it's getting better and better. I still have moments of playing victim, but now I immediately catch myself and I know how to get out of it. Of course, we know how to get out of it. We just needed a little bit of a push, and we needed a little bit of accountability, that we don't get into excuse, because it's so common to really blame somebody else, right? So this was another beautiful person that found us, and she said, this was work related. I was in a moment of my life where I was stuck at work, dealing with stress, anxiety, and a bad working environment. A lot was expected of me, but little cooperation or guidance was given within my team. The lockdown started and things got even more stressful at work, and I thought of quitting my job despite the economic uncertainty. Lockdown. Then I met the appreciation game, and that has been my lifesaver. I learned that I create my own reality, and because of that, I cannot keep acting as a victim. I've learned many different techniques to keep me aware of my thoughts and feelings and to help me come back to my center. I verified that when I'm in my center, my reality at work changes. Many situations have improved. I have been able to understand why some people, including myself, act the way they do. Therefore, I'm more understanding with my colleagues. Imagine, instead of judging your colleagues, you're understanding of your colleagues. That is what source would do. That is what your inner being would do. Instead of taking it personal, you just think, oh my God, they must be in so much stress. Well, maybe I should just send them love, or just be compassionate towards them. But in a survival state, in a program, we feel judged. We close our hearts, and then of course these loops start playing. So the environment and the energies just gets toxic, because everybody feels fearful, yeah, and they start blaming and judging. So this game is far better than having a therapist, because it offers a wide range of techniques to empower the players to take active control of their lives. And actually, the only thing that we taught them was appreciation, but we started explaining it in a much, much wider context with all the different teachers that Ellen and I geeked out on, because she and I had one thing in common. We are bookworms. We love studying. And not just studying, we love teaching about it, we love sharing it, and we love making it playful. Sophia was a beautiful, beautiful player. She is amazing, but she shared, playing for 2 months now helped me yet again to realize how powerful I and we all really are. I thought I had known it before, but the great content and teaching of steps to raise your own vibration have helped me to incorporate it deeper into my conscious and very important subconscious mind. That's it, subconscious mind. That's where it's all starting. Life is flowing much more easily, and I'm spending a lot less time trying to change things with my analytical mind. Have you all not been there? You analyze your environment with the same consciousness that created it. It doesn't change anything, right? That's why appreciation and understanding all these loops of thinking is so important, and how to actively embody appreciation. Instead, I raise my vibration by appreciating and now being selfish about my own happiness, which is what Abraham is teaching, is not wrong. It's actually the only way to expand into more joy in this vibrational universe. And so she had some really fun manifestations. So there's always some people that they just get what they want. And the way that it comes to them is so funny and so inspiring. And you think, oh, if they can do it, I should be able to do it too. I'm just caught in a program that it's not possible for me. Because if you see several people do it, then you think, hey, it's also possible for me. In the first game, I manifested the money to fulfill a huge desire for me, having enough money to get a motorcycle and pay the riding lessons. It's done. My beautiful motorbike now has its place in my garage. It's not just any motorbike. It's exactly the one I wanted, and it showed up at the dealer just 15 minutes drive from where I live. There's no dealer of this brand in the closer area, but apparently the universe knows how to work its magic. And the exact bike I had laid my eyes on was just traded in at the dealer 15 minutes away from my home. I bought it right away without test riding it. Sorry, I lost my, okay. It had 1,400 kilometer on it, and 14 is my favorite number, smiley. My bike and me are already best friends. I mean, she sees the consciousness in her bike. Isn't that amazing? My bike and me are already best friends, and I've manifested it before even finishing my riding lessons. Appreciation is powerful, and playing the game helped me to find a new level of letting go, trusting the universe, and allowing my dreams to come true. So Natalie was a business owner, and she had, like, lockdown and COVID. Everybody was in fear, right? When we started to game, I was in a state of fear and anxious due to some health conditions and the fact that my customers stopped their projects due to the corona crisis. Due to the accountability to appreciate at least 3 times a day, I did it even more in the beginning. My energy of fear changed very quickly into a positive energy. I didn't do it by myself without the game. The game and the energy of the group kept me doing it every day. Yeah, that's important. Most of us, I think, are the same. I love reading all the posts from the other players. During the game, other magical things were happening. I shifted the relationship to my sister. Usually the phone calls with her are very difficult. Since I wrote down the positive aspects about her as an Abraham Hicks process, the quality of our conversations has changed very positively. I now like to talk on the phone with her. 3 weeks ago, this would have been unimaginable. I had another amazing manifestation. One of my intentions of my best case scenario is being abundant. Last Saturday, I was 100% sure that I will be financially free in the future. Only one day later, I got an unexpected payback from 100 euros, and out of the blue, I had a payment from 1,000 euros on my bank account from someone who owes me 500 euros for years. Honestly, I never expected that money back, but she paid me even 500 euros more to apologize. That was really out of the blue, and for me, a clear sign from the universe that the way to abundance started already. That same day, I picked a tarot card, the Goddess of Abundance. I really love the game, the energy of the group, and the amazing content we get. Angelique and Ellen put so much love and work into that game. Through you, I get to know great methods and teachers. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, blah, blah, blah. Every time when we asked for a testimonial, we were getting so much love from our players. It was unbelievable. It was really, really heartwarming. So what do you commit to in the game setting? You commit to living in harmony with the laws of the universe, what Bob Proctor would say. Not, we most of the time, nobody has taught us how to live in harmony with the laws of the universe. We're just scrambling like mice in the dark, and, we're like holding each other's hands. That actually, we live in an age of information now. Ignorance is a choice. Yeah. So you can do this by yourself. You can do the appreciation game by yourself. You don't have to pay us, to be in it. But definitely, if you want to do it in the way, really understand, how I synthesize the teachings, how I started living, all the laws, how I started challenging my own programs and my scarcity consciousness and my panic attacks. How I became the scientist. I didn't want to be a philosopher anymore. I had enough of being the philosopher. How I had to challenge the programs in my body, the panic attacks, the fear, the self-sabotage, and really become the victor. I didn't want to be the victim anymore. I knew I was not a victim, and that the victory was so beckoning to me. But that was all to do with training my emotional self. This is what you will be encouraged to do, but you're only asked to appreciate 3 times a day and to post in the group. There are a few more other rules in the new game. The new game is more what I would call gamified. So there's like 3 teams that are going to be there. So once you commit to the game, you will know, you can choose which group you're in. But what we'll do together is there's joyful accountability. And of course, people don't like accountability, but I call it joyful accountability because the way that we designed it is fun. And it's joyful, it's playful. So it's like asking, who would love to go to a Dr. Joe retreat? Nobody is saying, no, no, no. Who wants to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the meditations at the Dr. Joe retreat? Everybody's like, me, 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 me. It's that type of joyful accountability. You really want to do it. Whereas normally, if anybody asked you to wake up at 5 a.m., you would be like, seriously, can I please not go? Please delete me from the invite list. This is the opposite. You want to do it. It's playful application of the universal laws and all the things that you would normally listen to or read about or talk about, but you're not doing it. It's really about playing the game. It is about community and synergy. And the most important thing is entanglement. Entanglement is a serious thing. And I've seen it ever since I started doing constellation work in groups. My first course that I ever started was called Meeting the Lover Within. I already saw the entanglement happening there. Whenever you put a group together with a one specific intention, the entanglement starts happening. So that is what the conscious games are about. And that is what I feel I'm doing in the world, conscious games, consciousness games. So to remind you again, in the vibration of appreciation, all things come to you. You don't have to make anything happen. From what you're living, amplify the things you appreciate so that it's the dominant vibration you're offering. And then only those things that are a vibrational match to that can come to you. Then sit back and know you ain't seen nothing yet. So basically next week, I want to do a fundraising masterclass. So basically, it will be in the evening, but if a lot of people cannot do it in the evening, maybe we can change the date. So basically, direct message me if you want to be part of it. I would ask for a minimum donation of $22 or euro. The fundraising is for an operation of somebody we know that basically needs the money for a very important operation, and the insurance is not paying it. So I really felt like, I want to do something good. And if you want to be part of it, I'll send you the GoFund page, and then you send me a screenshot of the minimum $22. You can let me know what you would like to work on, and then we create a fun, amazing masterclass. I have done these appreciation game processes sometimes with a person just for an hour, and literally they had so many light bulbs going on in their mind that they really stopped like certain ways of thinking. But the real change comes when you start doing it over and over and over again. Yeah. The real change happens, I think, after 3 months, because last year I had a class for 8 weeks, and actually I had it for 6 weeks, and then I noticed that people were still a bit wobbly, and then I put in a lot of work to actually make it 8 weeks, but I couldn't make it 12 weeks. But the 3 months is, I think, a really critical point. But at the 6 months, it's almost like, they live it. And I think a lot of the players that we had, appreciation is now part of